We are back with the final two on the card from this historic race meet in upstate New York, Saratoga Springs at Saratoga Racecourse. Our program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Had a terrific crowd on hand, still do, for the final Saturday of the meet with two races remaining on the Jockey Club Gold Cup card. We're going to show you what happened in that race in just a moment. While we were away, one of the biggest upsets of the entire summer took place also. Greg Wolf, Hall of Fame rider Gary Stevens, one of the top trainers in the country, Tom Amos, and we're going to look back at this big one in this older horse division in this Jockey Club Gold Cup Olympiad with some questions to answer in this field, and it seems like he answered at least some of them.
He did answer them. It was a honest run race. Pace was not lightning fast, but listen, they started asking their horses a long ways out. You can see Tax on the lead with Kendrick Carmouche. And Junior Alvarado's asking Olympiad hard a long ways out right now, keeping after him. That's American Revolution to his outside.
Yeah, Olympiad, the two horse in between horses, and to his outside, as you said, was American Revolution. American Revolution has Olympiad in a great spot. To his outside, really hard against him, as much as he possibly can be, as you see, turning for home here. And everything that the outside horse does, American Revolution, Olympiad has to keep up with him or he's going to fall back and lose his position. But in the end, it's just too much Olympiad, and American Revolution, our second choice, can't keep up with him. They put themselves away from the rest of the field.
To make the argument, these were the two best horses in the field coming in anyway, and they run 1-2. Olympiad, he's now won 6 of his last 7 starts. As Spilmont collects a 4th victory in the Jockey Club Gold Cup, winning it for the first time since Ron the Greek back in 2013. And Junior Alvarado able to hold with that lead, making that move, getting by Tax and holding that advantage over American Revolution. Impressive performance here. Obviously, it's a tough year in this division with a couple of monsters. One who's going to run later today in Flightline out on the West Coast, and of course the horse who beat Olympiad last time out in Life is Good, as we send it to our paddock set with Andy Serling and Paula Duca.
I do agree with Greg. Obviously, you've got some very, very good horses out there, but, and I know that Greg agrees with this, Olympiad's in that conversation with the top horse in the country, and I'm really happy for him and his connections. They did show that the Whitney was just an aberration for him, and we got to see today what a good horse he really is.
No, I agree completely with what Gary said. An honest run race, Tax sent fractions that were not that fast, but not that slow either. And you can see that Junior, like Gary was saying, was asking Olympiad, and he answered the question. The big question for him was, Andy, we all knew he loved Churchill Downs, and he loved Saratoga when he was younger, sprinting. He needed to do this just to stamp himself, okay, I'm back in this division. It just shows you how hard it is to chase a horse like Life is Good around the racetrack.
No, that's a very, very valid point. And I know Tom made a terrific point about this. It was sort of a cat and mouse situation where Olympiad had to deal with every sort of move by American Revolution, because American Revolution, who I liked a lot in this race, had the upper hand because of position outside of him. But every time American Revolution took a little shot at him, Olympiad said, no, I'm just the better horse than you are. And it's nice to see in big races like this, the best two horses run 1-2, and the race is over, and there is no question that the best horse won.
Yeah, but I'm going to do this for you, and I'm going to do you a favor.
Really?
I think American Revolution is the bet next time. This horse only had 2 races, now 3 races, since December of last year. You give this horse a couple more races, it's a little bit closer at the wire. I don't think Olympiad and American Revolution are that far apart. Give American Revolution a little bit more foundation. I thought it'd be a little bit closer today.
And maybe because the pace was fairly tepid, American Revolution had to pay Olympiad's game a little bit. I think it's a very fair argument. Very good horses, a big race, and I think, guys, we'll all agree. We've seen so many terrific races here this summer, Greg, and this was another one, and just a satisfying result as well.
Yeah, good to see Olympiad back to his best, and the horse that we've come to know put together that 5-race win streak. He had been undefeated around 2 turns until he disappointed in the Whitney, but a lot of people have come back and said they're disappointed when they have to go up against Life is Good, as Paul mentioned. Breeders' Cup Challenge Series at Saratoga, and you look at that list, there's one that stands out right now. It just happened preceding that Jockey Club Gold Cup. We had one of the biggest, maybe the biggest upset this summer with Virginia Joy winning that Flower Bowl. Warlike Goddess defeated.
We talked about a lack of pace in that race, and that's the way it played out. Virginia Joy made the lead. She got an assist because Warlike Goddess was really stuck in a spot, couldn't get out in time to make her late run. When she does, Gary, it's late in the race, and there's a lot left to do.
Yeah, it's a bad
Gotta
feeling.
be the worst feeling in the world.
It's a horrible feeling. When you're in a spot like that, you're 1 to 9 odds. Don't think you can get beat. He was in a trap all the way down the backside, and you know that the owners, all the connections there, and everyone are saying, what is he doing? And Joel Rosario, there was absolutely nothing he could do to get out of the spot he was in. He had to fight to get his way out. We're going to go over it later on, and you'll see the race. And it was just a tough go. She got out extremely late in the race. There was no pace. They went to 3/4 of a mile in a minute 19. That's crawling for these horses. So it turned into a sprint. She was trapped and didn't get out. She was lucky to run second.
And I don't think with the resume she's put together anyway, and seeing that slow pace and where she was in the race, we'll look at it as Gary said, but I don't know if she lost anything at all in defeat.
No, I don't think she did. And if you line them back up, that same group, she'd be favored, heavily favored the next time.
Race 12, we got the 12th and 13th still coming up. This is for non-winners of 2 lifetime. It'll be out of the Wilson Chute, 1 mile distance, and this is a tough betting race coming up. That's your favorite right now, but a modest favorite. Mr. Breadwinner meets leading rider. Rat Ortiz Jr. will ride for Horacio de Paz. One in the mud at Aqueduct. Going to get a fast track for the first time in his career coming up. We'll be back.
Warfront. On the racetrack, his accomplishments included this victory in the Vanderbilt at Saratoga.
It will be Warfront to win it by 2.5 lengths.
Now this son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires. With over 100 stakes winners, Warfront's progeny includes some of the world's most talented runners, both at home and abroad. Ranked #1 by percentage of lifetime stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and Grade 1 winners. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Back on our FS2 coverage of Saratoga Live. It's brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Race 12, again, out of the Wilson Chute. Horses who do not have 2 wins on the resume, just that maiden win to their credit. Look at the current odds. And again, Mr. Breadwinner, your favorite, a Rat Ortiz Jr., Horacio de Paz. Let's get a paddock report and head back to Acacia.
Greg, as he does take a drop in class, and he also gets a little bit of a cutback in distance too, to going the mile out of the Wilson chute versus the 2-turn mile and an eighth. And my notes from last time was that I was concerned about the 2-turn distance for him. I just thought that that was going to be a little bit of a stretch. Now, he has some good size to him still, but I just think this is a much better spot. He's incredibly fit. He's well muscled. He's really solid off of that disappointing effort last time out. And yes, they have been searching for what's the right spot for him. This is actually his first time racing on a fast track, so it looks like it's something that he should prefer, and this could just be the right place for him to get that elusive second career victory. All the way towards the outside, taking a look at the number 10 Midnight Worker, who also gets a big drop in class. His last dirt race was actually in the grade 3 Nashua, and I'm guessing, given his physicality of the way that he's built, is why they have been trying him on the turf. He's another one that they seem to kind of be searching with. He's very, very light in his hindquarters, very kind of angular, doesn't carry much condition across his flank. He's really tucked up. He's been sharp here in the paddock, and that's always kind of been my concern with him, is that he's a kind of tall and lanky type, but he lacks a little bit of strength. I do think that the drop in class should help. Oftentimes for Todd Pletcher, with these aggressive types of drops, they do pan out. I just really do wonder if the dirt is his preferred surface, and if he's really kind of moved along as a 3-year-old at this stage. The number 12 Commander Compton drops a little bit last time out. I thought that he was just taking a long time to warm up, and also another one that I thought the mile and an eighth would be a bit of a stretch. They've added a piece of equipment on him today, the Sherwin, that band that goes down the front of his face and attaches to either side of the bridle. Horses that have the tendency to get their tongue over the bit, or just maybe a little bit more trouble getting their air, that kind of helps to keep the mouth closed and keep him a little bit more settled. So I thought that equipment change was interesting, and again, think that this is a better spot for a barn in Phil Bauer, who's been sending out some very, very live runners throughout this meet, Greg.
Acacia, thank you. Yes, he has. Phil Bauer, 6 for 10. What an impression he has made this summer here at Saratoga. That horse, interesting, getting in off the also eligible list. There he is again at 17-1.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting horse in here. The 8-horse, One More Baby, was claimed off of Phil Bauer last time out. Goes to Jose D'Angelo, who's also having a very good meet here.
Call to post as they come down Champions Way. And our post parade coming up as we're just 4 minutes from a start. It might be a little bit more than that here from this 12th on the card. We're going to see a Christophe Clement runner to kick things off. Dylan Davis back on board a race that was meant to be on the grass. In the 4-year-old debut for this horse, came off and won impressively.
He did, but he's finding the competition a little sterner today.
Indeed he is. Next door, 21-1. This is Iron Lion and Zion has had all kinds of problems getting out of the gate. Yeah, he has. In Lasix last time, now blinkers will go off, and Tommy Morley's going to drop this horse in half. Could be in front if he breaks clean. Here's Mr. Breadwinner.
Mr. Breadwinner's a player. He's never been on a dry dirt track before, and he has the speed to be forward, and he just fits in here.
Ria's Angel, Joel Rosario, Rudy Rodriguez off the claim.
Big win last time out, but probably not good enough to beat these. And frankly, Rudy Rodriguez and his record, his horses are going to beat me.
Drop in for a claiming tag for Patient Capital.
Yeah, listen, we've seen a couple of these horses drop for Chad, and people don't want to bet them. And one at 8-1, another one at 7-1. So at 4-1, you're getting your price.
First time on dirt for Milano.
Yeah, well, listen, an unknown with that. And frankly, there is the pedigree to handle the dirt, but I don't know, just an unknown for me.
Big effort, as Gary mentioned, in the Phil Bauer barn last start claimed.
Yeah, and you know what? They wheeled the horse right back, so maybe blinkers have helped.
Kong loves a fight, 33-1.
He may love a fight, but I don't even know if he has enough to be in any kind of fight in this race.
10's interesting. This horse won first time out for Todd Pletcher.
Yeah, this is Midnight Worker. This is a horse as a 3-year-old had a ton of potential. Now dropping for 20. This is a giant drop for the 10 here off a muddied up turf race. So I thought the 10 was interesting.
And in off the also eligible list for Phil Bauer, Commander Compton.
Okay, so how do you take this? You have a trainer that's 60% at the meet. So do you leave the horse out? Because this is one of the horses that did not run. He's part of the reason why he's not 70%. So the 12's really tough to gauge. Junior Alvarado aboard as Luis Saez sticks with the 8.
Tough one, guys, to leave off your ticket here. Quick reminder, you can play all the action with Naira Bets. That's the offer. Toga 200, that code to use at sign up. Andy, Paulie, though, it's still the 3 Mr. Breadwinner, your favorite.
Yeah, you know, he's a funny favorite in here, and I do like his chances. I picked him second. Never been on a dry track. I don't know if it matters or not. Who knows? He can be forward. He's coming out of a much tougher race. And you go back to this win in the mud, where he ran basically the same Beyer figure he ran when he lost last time, but he just seems very logical, making a needed drop.
He does, completely. If you look at all of his races, he's never really run a bad race. Even his mile and the 16th races when he tried the turf, he wasn't disgraced. This day he took him gate to wire, and you're right, he's never seen a dry track. Your one concern would be, why hasn't Horacio tried him on a dry track against tougher company? Maybe he's thinking, you know what? If I drop on a dry track, I want to get the W like most of the people do here.
And it may be a rare day that Irad Ortiz is not getting the credit he deserves. Everybody's so caught up blaming Joel Rosario, I believe a bit unfairly, for Will I Goddess's loss. Maybe they should give a little credit to Irad for a brilliant ride on Virginia Joy. I like Patient Capital in here. I don't think this one got the best of rides last time. Thought got a little bit lost there. He can be closer to the pace. I think with Manny, we're going to see him close to the pace, and I like him coming back to New York.
You know, Two-Back, his only race on a fast racetrack, he got eliminated at the start. He got rushed up. He went way wide with Ricardo Santana, and he was getting out a little bit on Ricardo on the turn. And Ricardo thought the horse would be better around 2 turns or on the turf. And I think Chad tried to get the horse on the turf and said, you know what? Let's drop for 25. And these are dangerous horses. He's been winning with these horses all meet.
I think he makes a lot of sense, and he's a fair price. Now, Midnight Worker, he's a funny horse, right? He started out like he'd be good. You break your maiden the Saturday at Saratoga, you expect to be better than ending up in a 25 claimer. It just hasn't worked out for him. But I'll give you a stat, Paul. This is for the 10 Midnight Worker. Todd Pletcher going first time for a tag, first time in a claiming race on the dirt at Saratoga. Look at those numbers. 17 for 47. 36%, hitting the board almost 70% of the time, and an ROI of 265. These are $7 horses, not huge prices, but they're not 4 to 5 shots, and they are winning.
Wow, that's an amazing stat. And like I said, when you look at the last race, Todd gave this horse a whirl over the turf course, going a mile, probably not what they wanted, 16 to 1. Now they're on the drop. And this horse won first time out here at Saratoga.
And listen, obviously Mike Rapoli wishes Dynamic One ran better, but he won't mind being in the winner's circle because he's here today for race number 12. We'll see how things work out. And guys, we still have a couple more races to go. Lots of action today as we get ready to close out the meet.
We're all midnight workers.
Let's see if we're Midnight Worker fans. If this horse can get it done at 9 to 2, yeah, any race you can get in the winner's circle here at Saratoga, you will take it. And they had expectations for this horse. It seemed like early on in his career.
I mean, if you play class in handicapping, meaning the levels the horses are running at and dropping to a different level, this is probably the most dramatic class drop you're going to see a horse make from the allowance level in Midnight Worker down to a non-2 lifetime 25,000 claim. That's a dramatic class drop.
Well, in terms of his dirt drop, too. Last time he was in dirt, he was in a grade 3.
Yeah, and I mean, look, no doubt, Paulie's right. I mean, I've been around him some. He's definitely a Midnight Worker.
Puts in those extra hours.
He does.
That's why he was such a good hitter.
Amen. Yeah.
9 to 2 on Midnight Worker. This horse, though, still, guys, the favorite, Mr. Breadwinner. And, you know, they touched on it on the paddock set. It's going to be the first time this horse gets a fast dirt track.
Well, that's either a positive or a negative.
Yeah, look, I mean, I get why Mr. Breadwinner is one of the choices in here, but when you go back and look at the replay we watched, it's a sealed track, it's a sloppy track. Sometimes that's a track that really favors one horse more than the rest of them. How does it apply?
Paul had a response to you, Tom.
Yeah, Paul did say something.
Uh-oh. Paul, remember, I'm like a father to you. Go ahead.
No, you're completely right. Sometimes you always got to swing the bat late at night so you can stay sharp.
Midnight Worker 9 to 2 on the 10, but the favorite been throughout. Mr. Breadwinner.
Touche.
I'm sorry, where were we?
Loaded up and ready to roll. Here we go. Johnny and Brielle with a call. Here's race 12 from Saratoga.
They're all in the gate. And they're off. Patient Capital. One more baby is there. And now moving up towards the inside is Mr. Breadwinner. Mr. Breadwinner going out for the lead along with Patient Capital. Mr. Breadwinner, Patient Capital, they are 1-2. Midnight Worker is on the outside and in third. And alongside is One More Baby in fourth. Shonen next in fifth, followed by Ria's Angel in sixth. Iron Lion in Zion runs in seventh. And then it is Milano, who is next in eighth, followed by Kong Loves a Fight and Commander Compton. The quarter went in 24 and 2/5 seconds. Up front, Mr. Breadwinner leading Patient Capital. Mr. Breadwinner by a half length. Patient Capital is next in second. And now Midnight Worker getting closer in third after a half mile in 48 seconds. It is still Mr. Breadwinner. Challenge here on the outside by Patient Capital, and now the two of them are right together. Midnight Worker moves into third. One More Baby in between horses. Shonen is down at the rail. Ria's Angels on the far outside. And now the field is at the top of the stretch. It is Patient Capital and Mr. Breadwinner. Mr. Breadwinner on the inside, Patient Capital on the outside, and the two of them battle it out at the eighth pole. Patient Capital and Mr. Breadwinner, and they are still together. Now a 16th out. Patient Capital on the outside, Mr. Breadwinner on the inside. The two of them fight it to the finish. What a stretch duel this is. Oh, it's very close. May have been Mr. Breadwinner. Very tight with Patient Capital. Noses apart in race 12 at the Spa.
Dead tight finish. Looks like it's the three. Mr. Breadwinner meets leading rider. Arad Ortiz Jr. may have eked this one out.
I love it, man. $25,000, non-winners of 2 lifetime. And look at him fight. Had lost the lead to Patient Capital and fights his way back. Listen, with the new riding crop rules, you can only strike a horse 6 times, use it 6 times. Ortiz was out. So it's making changes in finishes in races when horses, when you can't encourage them with the crop any longer, you have to use hands and heels. You can show it to them, but they were out of him. This horse fought back on his own.
Yeah, those two horses went out together in front. They kind of ran around there together. That stretch duel, those two riders that you're watching, if you want to watch riders really good at their craft, those two riders coming to the wire together, they're doing everything they can to get their horses to the wire. These are two brilliant, strong, great riders you're watching right there.
And it is the three by a nose in this stretch duel. Mr. Breadwinner at 3-1. Arad out dueling Manny Franco, guys.
They may be two great riders, but there's two very sick people out of this set because both Paulie and I bet Patient Capital. Manny gave him a great ride, got him in the game, knew he had to beat, and just hung a little bit on the money after looking like a winner. And a very good stretch duel by two very logical horses in this race, Paulie.
Yeah, and you know, Andy, I think Manny played it perfect. They went honest fractions, and he said to himself, okay, I'm not going to heat it up. Let's make this a 2-horse race, and let's go down to the wire. And he had the 3 put away. And like Tom said, the 3 was able to reach back, and Irad was able to get that left-handed stick going. And I'm going to tell you, everybody's been talking about Irad. He showed up today, I'll tell you that. That was a heck of a ride for this horse to hold off. It looked like the 6 was going to go right on by.
And some people may know the legendary Andy Beyer did Talking Horses with me today, and Andy takes a lot of unfair criticism for his handicapping, and I know he can't pick a Derby winner and all that nonsense. This is his 8th or 9th winner on top in this card, which includes the $35 horse Instant Coffee who won race number 8. He put on a clinic in handicapping on Talking Horses today, one that anyone should be proud of, even a guy who's a legend like Andy Beyer.
That's why none of our handicapping stuff is in the racing form.
He beat me by a nose here. I'm very, very bitter.
3-6, 5-2 finish, 3-1, Mr. Breadwinner. Arad Ortiz Jr. notches another one here for good measure. We still got one more to come to close out this Saturday card on Jockey Club Gold Cup Day. When we come back, you'll have the entry in the nightcap, and we'll have the story of the Bond Racing Stable. It's all in the family for the Bonds. We'll have that when we come back here. Stay with us on Saratoga Live.
Consistently versatile with 24 Grade 1 winners on every surface from 6 furlongs to 1 1/4 miles all over the world.
Switzerland in the Dubai Golden Shaheen. Switzerland wins. Olympiad gets the gold in the New Orleans Classic.
Churls fight running on. Mason in front. Churls fight on the outside. At the wire. Photo for the win.
All purpose, all places, all power. Spitestown.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Honor Code, a multiple Grade 1 winner from the final crop of the legendary AP Indy. Never off the board in 11 starts, he was crowned champion older horse before retiring. Now he is living up to the promise of his pedigree. With progeny like Grade 1 winners Honor AP, Max Player, and Maracuja, and multiple six-figure yearling sales, Honor Code stands to continue his sire's legacy at Lane's End.
Big news from Presque Isle Downs. Graded Stakes action returns Monday, September 19th with a $400,000 Grade 2 Presque Isle Masters, a very important Breeders' Cup prep race. In 6 of its first 11 runnings, horses from the Presque Isle Masters won that year's Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. September 19th also features the $200,000 Presque Isle Mile. Join us for our biggest day of the season at Presque Isle Downs, Erie, Pennsylvania. For more, go to PresqueIsledowns.com.
Back on Saratoga Live on our FS2 coverage on the final Saturday of the meet from Saratoga. Photo finish in race 12. And a lot of these have gone around Ortiz Jr.'s way. Run happy photo finish to the meet's leading rider down on the inside, Mr. Breadwinner, Horacio de Paz, Team Penny Racing. Let's go to Acacia for more.
Pleased to be joined by winning rider Irad Ortiz, Mr. Breadwinner, fighting it out. And Irad, this was your first time climbing aboard this horse, and we know that he has a tendency to get out a little bit. You could even see his head cocked a bit. Did Horacio give you a heads up about that and his little quirks?
Not really. He don't tell me anything about him. He just told me try to have a clean break and go from there. It's only when he's been on the lead, so try to make the lead if you can. That's what I did, and I don't fight too much with him. He never tried to get out, and I was available to hit left-handed in the stretch, and he come back and fight and get the job done.
He was so game at dueling with the other horse in the stretch patient capital. What's that stretch battle drive as you and Manny were coming down to the wire?
It was great. It was great. Manny is a great rider. I mean, he was riding, doing his best. I was doing my best, and I got lucky. My horse put the head back in front in the last couple jumps. Horacio did a great job with the horse.
Now, this horse you were able to take wire to wire. You did the same with Virginia Joy earlier in the Flower Bowl. How key was that, getting her to get so relaxed on the front end?
She broke good, put me in a perfect position where we want to be. It was not too much speed, not too much speed on the race, and was available to slow down very easily. And she just kept going, give me a good kick from the quarter pole to 8 pole. Then I keep him busy, and she was available to hold on.
You had Warlike Goddess coming, but your filly dug in.
Yeah. She was game. She was game lately, and hold up the horse that finished second. The filly finished second. Is a very nice filly, but today we got the job done. The filly was ready. She had to do a great job. I mean,
another great day at Saratoga for you. Congratulations here to Irad.
Thank you very much, Akash.
Irad Ortiz and Mr. Breadwinner. He's the big breadwinner today, Greg.
He is indeed 4-win day for the meet's leading rider, who is up and over the 50 mark at the meet now. 51 wins to pace everybody in this outstanding jockey colony for Irad Ortiz Jr. Mr. Breadwinner, $8.10 for the win, and he's got a chance to tack on a fifth this afternoon in the nightcap coming up. Going to close out this Saturday card, sprinting on the turf at 5.5 furlongs. New York bred $40,000 maiden claiming race. And the Bond Barn with Chiara and Fulini, the 1 and 1A at a big price up there. And for Bond Racing, it truly is a family operation. Based in Saratoga, the runners always seem to shine every summer up here at Saratoga. From Travers winner Will's Way to Whitney winner Tiz Way and several others, James and his wife Tina are living out their dream as business partners and best friends.
As a little boy, this was a dream. We've got a farm that most people would die for. It's gorgeous. We're so proud of it. I think it was predestined for us to have New York breds. I was lucky enough to have a horse called Le Carriere. Le Carriere was second to Cigar in the Breeders' Cup in '95. He was a New York bred. You know, New York's really getting it right. I mean, you look at Tiz the Law, Funny Side, so many great horses, 4-Star Dave. So you're seeing them every day at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, throughout the country. They're winning races. It's the greatest program, in my opinion, and you know, we're lucky we're breeders too, so we get a few more awards.
We breed a lot of our own horses, but we have bought some of them as well and put into the partnership. We maintain the majority of each horse, and we sell 5–10% shares. We're heavily invested in each horse as well. It helps us with the risk, but it also gives them a lot of comfort in that we're taking the majority of the risk. These horses are professional athletes, and they're your sports team when they're going in the gate. And for us to share this with so many people across the country that have joined our partnership, and that's really rewarding.
We found this place and we redid it. We've had it for 23 years. It's 44 Gridley Street. We're a quarter of a mile basically down from the 7-furlong pole on the main track. And it's a little piece of heaven. The walk is the greatest thing for me personally because I get to follow my horses, watch them come back. I can make sure that they're okay all the time. It's actually an education process because the horses actually get to be around vehicles, cars, but the horses get used to it. We use clear cord a little bit to do some figure eights inside, just to kind of give horses back that farm life that they started with. I think it's great. The horses are out of the stall for about an hour, you know, which is really nice for the horses. We've been fortunate enough to have some really nice horses, and some of them were a little slow early in their life, mentally, physically, and they became good horses.
They're giving their all, striding with every stride. Will's Way has won it.
Will's Way was a horse that threw his heart out and he chased it. He was amazing. One of my greatest horses, if not the greatest.
My heart always went to Barron's. He ran 6 grade ones, I think, in a row, and he went to Dubai twice. He was just an iron horse.
Tisway takes the Met Mile with style.
Tisway won the Met Mile and, of course, the Whitney, and, you know, then was syndicated to Spendthrift. And he was a good horse. Buddha was an exceptional horse. He was a star. He beat Medel d'Oro in the Wood Memorial. They just wanted more. That's all you can say, you know, and that, you know, we're just lucky to be around them.
We bring different things to the table. I come from a corporate background, and he's the horse person, so I think I see things from different ways.
Well, I was her dream job, okay? We got to straighten it out right now, okay? It's fantastic. We are best friends. We've been best friends for 40-some-odd years. When you work with your best friend, great things happen, and I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
They're a great team and easy to root for. James Bond, some of his top horses he's had, loved Barron's. He was so good over the course of his career, so consistent. Val's Prince, Turf Classic winner, Le Carriere, that Saratoga Cup. And of course, as you saw in that piece, Will's Way, maybe the best James Bond ever had. Travers winner. He's going to send out the entry coming up in this race. They'll be up against it, 12-1 on the board here in this 5.5 furlong turf sprint, but a tremendous job, and he points to Saratoga in the summer being based up here and has a lot of success. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. Favorite in this race, though, who everyone's got to deal with, Christophe Clement's class dropper. Quick power nap off Joel Rosario aboard. There's one of the Bond runners. Part of that entry, Chiara will have Luis Saez aboard. We'll be back with the post parade for the nightcap when we return.
Here comes Clariere on the outside. They're coming to the finish, and it's going to be Clariere. Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths. Cody's Wish on the outside. Cody's Wish with the upset in the Fargo. Malathon grabs the lead in deep stretch, and Malathon has won the Personal Ensign Stakes.
Curling, the classic sire. Prolumo is the all-natural, non-medicated, targeted therapy top horsemen choose to reduce bleeding caused by strenuous exercise.
We use it for preventative, and also we start horses on it if after a race or after a workout they bleed. The success has been tremendous.
Prolumo's active ingredient, Noto ginseng, has proven hemostatic properties. Consult your veterinarian prior to administering. Go natural. Visit Prolumo.com to order today.
It is Virginia Joy and Costana. Warlike Goddess now into third. Virginia Joy is still there. Then it is Costana, and here is Warlike Goddess kicking in late. Virginia Joy, Warlike Goddess, Virginia Joy, the German bred, upsets the field.
One of the biggest upsets of this summer. It's Saratoga. Virginia Joy able to hold off the late charging Warlike Goddess. Huge odds-on favorite who had a tough trip in here.
Yeah, she did, and I just want to clarify that I by no means was criticizing Joelle Rosario's ride. Been in that spot many a time. This filly, she was covered up going into the backside and got an assist from Temple City Care. Louis Saez riding his race. That's part of the game. Just she never got loose until late, and full credit to the filly that won the race.
Warlike Goddess was behind horses, had a horse outside of her, nowhere to go for Joelle Rosario until things opened up late. And when it did, she kicked home, but it was too late underneath those slow pace conditions. Virginia Joy, who made the lead in there, was able to have something left and fend her off.
So winning you're in for the Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf. And we'll see which race Warlike Goddess decides to go to. It's, I believe, a mile and 3/16 for the filly and mare turf, and she probably wants a little more ground. There's been talk about her facing the boys. We'll see what connections choose. Got the nightcap coming up. Paddock report time. Let's go to Acacia.
And we'll start to the outside with the current favorite, Class Dropper Quick Power Nap, as this filly by Cantharos did run the best last out figure last time out when she finished third. It did seem like she was a precocious type at the start of her 2-year-old season, unfortunately sidetracked with an injury and coming back as a 3-year-old. It just seems that she's run fine, but a class drop should potentially help her to take a step forward. Now, she is a typical kind of Cantharos build. She's very compact. She's very solid. She's shorter coupled. She is accompanied by the pony here in the paddock, just trying to keep her a little bit settled. Brought the pony over alongside when putting the tack on, and she was pretty sharp saddling, but has now settled down a little bit more, and we'll follow that pony throughout the preliminaries here. Just a method that Christophe Kamana and several other trainers often use with horses that tend to be a little bit more of nervous types. She makes a lot of sense in this spot. The number 4, Moda Morning Grouch. I was a little bit intrigued by the this filly on paper when looking through this race, and then coming in, I like her in this spot too. She is dropping back down to the 40 level, and I know that she's been beaten twice at this level of competition. Last time out, though, she seemed like she got just a little bit too keen with the blinkers on. She was kind of rushing up inside, up on heels, steadied back early on under Jose Lozcano, and then was really just kind of pulling on her rider throughout and not able to rally. So the blinkers come right back off, which I think is intriguing. This is the right spot for her. She carries a lot of good substance, as Linda Rice's horses do, and just again, one that I thought was perhaps in the right spot. We'll see if she can move forward off of that race 2 starts back. The number 5, My Cara Mia Mine, is also a first-time class dropper. Last time out, too, she was really jostled pretty good on either side at the break. She was swapping leads when closing and had to be very wide in there. Third off the layoff, a drop in class. She is sharp here in the paddock today, too. They started saddling her in the saddling stalls and to bring her outside and kind of finish her on a half walk, half jog, because she was just really energetic this afternoon. Hopefully she's able to break a little bit better, as that has been her Achilles heel, as we'll head over to Andy and Paul.
Thank you, Acacia. Well, it seems to me that the 11 quick power nap can win. By the way, I could use a power nap. Maybe we'll take it between Tom Amos comes on. Is a little short at 6-5. I mean, she makes some sense. She's dropping down. She's not the only one dropping. 6-5?
Yeah, I get where you're going there, but when you look at the rest of this group, there's not a ton of pace in here, or there is a little bit of pace in here. The 2 looks like the horse that's going to set the pace, but she just doesn't have any stick. The 11 has tactical speed in maiden special weight races, so when they drop down to 40, I would think the 11, that post position probably won't hinder her because she'd be able to at least find herself in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, Joel usually works them out. He's a tremendous rider in these turf sprints. But still, it is an outside post. You got to find a trip, and 6-5 just seems too short. It's not as though she's run so well in her races that she has some demonstrative edge. And I like My Cara Mia Mine, who's also making that drop. And she's a horse that got slammed coming out of the gate from both sides, as we like to say, pinballed around. She ran well against Better 2 races back. She ran a half length behind Quick Power Nap 2 races back, coming off a long layoff. Why the heck is she 8-1, now 7-1, and the 11 is 6-5? Either the 11's too low, or she's too high, or both. Fair?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think the 11 is because of the connections and the drop. My Cara Mia Mine, she has one issue. If she gets out of the gate with no problems, she usually runs a pretty big race. I mean, she's usually right there at the maiden special level. So the drop down for 40 finally in her 10th career start is going to help her.
Yeah, now there are some drops that are bigger than others. In state-bred races, the maiden specials and maiden 40s, they're not necessarily as big difference as the open races. So you take a horse like Is a Malibu Moon, the 8 coming off the claim for Gary Siaka, who actually has okay numbers off the claim. You don't think of him as much of a claiming trainer. And I don't think she's impossible as well in this race. What's wrong with her PPs?
Nothing. She's run well twice. Irad Ortiz is on a heater. I think he's looking for his 4th on the card. And she's a horse that showed 21 and change speed, so she's going to be involved early.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's much more interesting than just the 11 at 7-5. And while no argument she can win this race, the 11, I think from a value standpoint, you're supposed to be trying to take a shot against the 11. I'm taking the 5. My Cara Mia Mine.
All right, guys, our post parade coming up. And there's Joel Rosario. He's on the 6-5 favorite. And we've talked about this in the past. I believe I was on with Mig when we were talking about it. And, you know, Joel, tough race, a race he was expected to win. You're on a huge odds-on favorite like that. But as a jockey, and how was this easy for you to just put the past behind you and move on to the next race?
You sort of have to, but he'll be thinking about it all night long and into the morning. But I'll tell you, Joel's he's a different kind of character, and he'll get over it.
Kick off our post parade with the James Bond entry, Chiara post 3.
Chiara is just going to simply have to get faster to compete with these.
Post 6 for the entry mate.
Yeah, I mean, she's probably the weaker one, but at least she's trying the turf for the first time without a lot of pedigree for turf.
Speed on the rail for the 2, Bunty Windermere.
Yeah, listen, she doesn't have a lot of stick, but she's going to give you a cheap thrill. She'll be in front.
Lollygag has a race that makes her a little interesting.
But, Greg, how do you bet a horse whose name is Lollygag?
9-1. Moto Morning Grouch. I'm speechless, Andy. I don't know. I'm not is the answer.
Yeah, right. The 4 in here, though, my only worry with the 4 is a horse that doesn't have a lot of speed and they're taking the blinkers off.
The one Andy likes, My Carrot, Mia Mine, Trevor McCarthy.
I just think she's got races that make her contentious here, and maybe Trevor can get himself another win. He's really had some bad luck in the meet, and he's ridden very well.
Rent Control went by. Should show speed, and then here's is a Malibu Moon. Gary Siak off the claim.
It's a filly by Gormley out of a Lord at Ward mare. Wow, that goes way back.
Eli Dancer, Jose Ortiz.
This one is going out for Jose Ortiz, Cameo, who lost his Malibu Moon last time. Lost a tough race last time. It was a bit of a slower race. The winner did come back and improve.
Had a big lead in the stretch, got run down. Galleyhead at 30, that's a big price,
Yeah,
31-1.
I'm with you, Greg. I get it. This is the kind of horse that maybe not be able to win the race, but has got actually has gait issues and has run well. So I think a horse at 31-1 you can put in your tries and supers.
And the favorite, 6-5, a lot of money here in the class dropper.
And I think one of the reasons that this meet has offered opportunities is that in many, many cases, it seems like these overbet types, like the 11, have lost. And I have no problem with Quick Now or Nap. It makes sense dropping down for Christophe Clement with Joel Rosario. But I just think 6-5. I mean, I'd actually be curious, Greg, if you guys in the set have an opinion. Doesn't 6-5 seem awfully short in this horse?
I thought she was the one to be. That is quite low, though. I thought there were quite a few other options. What do you guys think?
I actually picked her, but I didn't think she'd be 7-5 in here. She's 5-2 on the morning line. Got that outside draw. She does have some speed, but 7-5. There's a couple other ones that I liked in here. I like the 9 and I like the 8 as well.
Look, she's a logical horse. Outside post, making that drop in class. She's logical in this spot. I'm not a 6-5 player. I don't try to be, at least. I think a lot of us try to beat those kind of odds. You bet those kind of horses, you're going to be a losing handicapper in the long run.
Well, these connections, they had a horse, of course, the Jockey Club Gold Cup. They got the big one still to come. It's going to be a lot shorter than 6-5. Flightline, and the big test for him, his first try at 1.25 miles coming up very soon in the Pacific Classic out on the West Coast.
Yeah, and people have asked me all day long from the time I got here this afternoon if I thought there was any way he could get beat. Well, any horse can get beat at any time with bad luck. We saw that today with Warlike Goddess, but this horse has got a beautiful action to him that I really am a fan of his. Watched his workout from Del Mar 2 weeks ago, and it was a thing of beauty to watch.
Was Warlike Goddess 1-9? Did she go off 1-9? 1-5. Okay, yeah. I mean, a bigger favorite obviously in Jackie's Warrior, who was 1-9, but still a very shocking defeat this afternoon.
But as far as Flightline, look, it's a question. Can he go 1.25 miles? And this is going to be a big test for him, obviously, with the Classic, the plans for him at the end of the year. We know how brilliant he's been. He's been brilliant every step of the way, including the Met Mile. But we'll see what happens at this distance.
I have no doubt about the 1.25 miles. I really don't. Bearing a stumble at the start or whatever, but we've seen that happen in the Met Mile. He stumbled and was still able to overcome it and do what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, look, all eyes will be on Flightline. If you like horse racing, you'll be watching Flightline. I know they got a good football game tonight, but you're going to turn the channel for that.
Especially in this town. Good luck to West Point, and good luck with them here as well with a favorite at 6-5. Let's go back to Acacia.
And when I spoke to Flavian Pratt yesterday about Flightline, he said he wasn't concerned about the distance at all. He said the way that this horse trains, the way he just lengthens his stride, and of course headed out from here yesterday to catch a flight out to the West Coast and a date with his big horse. But Irad Ortiz looking for one for the thumb in the nightcap here with the number 8 Eyes of Malibu Moon. This was a horse that I saw last time out when still with Jose Camejo, then stablemate Aunt Virginia. The two of them really just best in that field. And this was a filly that I had noticed both in her debut at Monmouth and last time as well. She just seemed to lack a little bit of focus. She was very sharp in the paddock. She was kind of looky around. Today, coming back in, she has a similar type of blinkers on in her first start for Gary Siaka. And while she's been on her toes, I think that she actually seems a little bit more clued in today. Plus, Irad Ortiz has gotten the chance to get to know her. She showed some tactical speed. As you can see, she's been on her toes. She's really well muscled. I wouldn't think that she's out of the question in this spot, and I think room to improve as she makes the third start of her career, Greg.
She's a major player at 9-2. Thank you, Acacia. And Arad Ortiz Jr., her pilot, 4 already today. This would be number 5 for the meet's leading rider. Lot to like with her. Just missed by a nose. Last time out was well clear of the third place finisher, who was Chiara, part of that entry for James Bond.
Yeah, it should be noted that IRAD just completed a 3-day suspension for an infraction last a couple weeks ago, so didn't slow him down at all.
Wasted no time. And we thought 7-5 was short. Even money now on the 11 in here, dropping in for a tag for the first time.
Yeah, sprint on the grass, coming from an outside post. Got to save some ground if you can. It'd be really interesting to see where our outside horse and our big favorite, the 11 Quick Power Nap, places himself early in the, or places herself early in the race.
Has shown against better the ability to be close. So Joel Rosario, Gary, from that outside post going 5.5, going to have some quick decisions to make.
Yeah. There's nobody better at it, though, of making those decisions.
Especially in these kind of races. So good at these turf sprints. Nightcap from Saratoga, even money favorite, last in line with Joel. Let's go upstairs. John and Brielle, the call.
They're in the gate. And they're off. A good start for Quick Power Nap from the extreme outside. Now moving on through to a challenge is a Bunty Windermere. And up close is Chiara next in third. Alongside is Mo de Morning Crouch next in fourth, followed by Fellini in fifth. Eyes of Malibu Moon is next in sixth. And gaining ground on the outside from seventh is Eli Dancer. Then Lollygag down at the rail in eighth. Rent Control had a steady there, being passed on the outside by Galleyhead. My Caramia Mine is the trailer in 11th. The leader is the favorite, Quick Power Nap, through a quarter in 21 and 4/5 seconds. Quick Power Nap by 2. Mo de Morning Grouch runs in second. And then down at the rail, it is Bunty Windermere next in third as they head for home with Quick Power Nap. Now challenged on the outside by Eli Dancer, and coming on through is Mo de Morning Grouch. Quick Power Nap is drifting out there in the stretch, but still in front as they come on for the finish. It will be Quick Power Nap who drew away at the end. Mo de Morning Grouch was second, close for third between Eli Dancer and Fellini.
Interesting stretch run here. Quick Power Nap. Joel Rosario not messing around. It felt he was on the best horse. Said, let's just go to the front.
Yeah, you know what? She started bearing out pretty hard going into the turn. She wouldn't want to stay on that fence. And Joel had a snug hold of her, but she was fighting it a little bit. And when she came off the turn, he pitched her head a little bit and just said, you know what? I'm not going to fight you anymore. Drifted out. And then when she senses the horse coming down inside, he gets her straightened up, gets her more focused again, and runs straight and true the last 16th of a mile.
Yeah, I think Joel won this race right out of the gate. You know, decided to go from the gate, sent, cleared. Once he did that, you know, you're talking about a horse that's running against horses that are a lot less than she has been running against. It's hard to catch up against a classy filly like this.
On the best, take it to him early, and that's what he did, guys.
It's all set to just talk about how wrong I was, that she may have been an overlay at even money. But then Tom said she's a classy filly, and I really need to go home.
She was looking all around the place. Hey, she's still kind of green still. Like, you could tell Joel had a reminder when she hit the front end. She put on the brakes, and he started tapping her a little bit on the side. Like, come on, sweetheart. We still got to finish this job. And you could tell she's still a little green. So it's going to be very, very interesting. We've had 27-way shakes, 22-way shakes. Horses have been going
somebody
everywhere.
claimed this horse?
I don't know. It's going to be very interesting.
I think the Clements will feel like they won 2 races today if this horse got claimed. Acacia is with one of my idols right now, the great, the legendary Tom Bellhouse.
He's everyone's idol, Andy. Always a pleasure to catch up with Tom. Tom, well dressed and for the winner's circle.
I'm channeling my inner Tom Morley, so.
I like it. And Quick Power Nap. Drifting a little bit, Joelle straightened her out, and she pulled away impressively.
I tell you what, we've had high hopes for this filly. She had some issues last year. The Clements have done a phenomenal job with her, and a little unlucky to win a couple times before, but today, we stuck around here. We had a long day. We ran great with first captain, but for the partners, this was just amazing, and all thanks to Joel Rosario and the great job your husband has done.
I will tell him you said so, but of course the team, how excited are you for Flightline later?
Yeah, I mean, it's been hard to keep it all together. We have a lot of great racing across the country today. Unfortunately, we canceled the Kentucky Downs in the $1 million race, but you're trying in a way not to think about it, just to make it till later tonight, where we're going to have a little get together and watch the big horse out west, and just we're all hoping that he does what we think he's going to do.
And hey, a winner's circle at Saratoga, that never hurts, right?
Never get tired of that.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Acacia.
Tom Bellhouse and the whole West Point team waiting to get their picture taken here in the winner's circle, Greg.
That is the place to be at Saratoga. Tough to get in there at this winner's circle, but that man seems to find it a lot. Joel Rosario teaming up with Christophe Clement. And yeah, the big one still to come for West Point with Flightline out on the West Coast.
It is indeed. I mean, and look, let's be as honest as we can be. Class is a relative word. This filly outclassed him based on where she's been running. And saying that it's a relative word as it relates to Andy, I know it's hard for him to get because class is not in his vocabulary. But nonetheless, this filly outclassed him.
Was taking the big class drop in this field. Pick six, 26,000 and change if you were able to put this combination together. And we're told this one was claimed. Rudy Rodriguez actually claiming quick power nap off of the Clement barn. As you see, a very crowded winner's circle, usually the case with these connections of West Point. Recently, again, just won their 1,000th career race, and it's been quite a ride for them. Well done. Had fun with you guys today.
Yeah, it's a good day. We saw some great racing, as we always do.
Including one of the biggest upsets we've seen all year long.
Jackie's Warrior.
Well,
a couple of tough beats.
I thought today was even bigger.
The Graveyard of
Graveyard,
Champions.
yeah, claiming another victim. Warlike Goddess. Virginia Joy able to get that win. We are back tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern start time. We will see you then on FS2. Check your local listings, and there is that win. Holding off the monster of the division, Virginia Joy, getting the better of Warlike Goddess. Jockey Club Gold Cup. Olympiad returns to his winning ways in his first try at 1.25 miles in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Final Saturday of the meet. It was a fun one here in upstate New York. We'll see you tomorrow at 12:30.
The momentum continues for War Dancer as Dancing Buck scores a decisive victory on the Saratoga turf.
And it is the New York-bred Dancing Buck who wins it.
And Elegant Dancer scores at Monmouth.
It's War Dancer's Elegant Dancer, winning by 6 lengths.
Interesting note on War Dancer I just got. He is the leading third crop sire for winners and earnings on turf. So he is certainly off to a blazing start at stud.
Now with 34 wins in 2022 and over $4 million in progeny earnings.